Welcome to the Other Side Pod. I'm Nadine. We're not experts. We're just humans having a human experience we think you can learn from, or relate to, or laugh at, or cry over. So hit download, dive in, and hear how folks found themselves on the other side. My fellow Christmas lover, Jess, how many people did you have at Christmas dinner last year?
Oh, it wasn't Christmas. It was Thanksgiving.
Oh.
But it was 49. But I will say there will be like the same at Christmas dinner, just maybe not me hosting.
Okay, because you are post-surgery, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
But you hosted the Thanksgiving with 49 flippin' people. I can't. Did you love that?
I did. I love family. My brother flew out from the West Coast with his partner, and I felt like I was showing him this my world now that we live in Ontario. And then I started sweating and was like, maybe I like attending this more than putting this on myself. Yeah. So note to family, I will not be hosting for a long time. Thank you so much.
But this Christmas you'll have 49.
Roughly.
Wow.
We're down a couple this year, but.
And you love Christmas as much as I do, correct?
Absolutely obsessed.
Oh.
And I learned it from my grandma. Behind me somewhere, there's a little black and white picture.
Yeah.
Is a picture of my grandma and her girlfriends when they're teenagers. And when I was setting up for Christmas, I was like, but this needs to be here because I feel like my love of Christmas came from my grandma.
Oh, gosh.
So she is part of the holiday decor.
There is something, everybody else that's not from Newfoundland or BC, you might be offended because I'm going to say there is something as an East Coaster, when I meet a fellow West Coaster, I guess not fellow East Coaster, but when I meet someone from the West Coast, I feel like we have the same strong connection. Not that anybody in between those provinces don't have a strong connection to their friends and family, but there's something, I don't know, I feel like it's a bit different. Do you feel the same, or do you more relate to just West Coasters?
No, I do think it's a coastal thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Yeah. I think there's a lot of smaller communities. I think especially being from the island, from Vancouver Island, and then places like Newfoundland, PEI, there's this island vibe that's smaller connection, closer, you can't always get off the island. You rely on your neighbors and your friends. And
yeah. And when you grow up close to the sea, I think a lot of us grew up with families that were fishing and seal hunting and all these things that are quite dangerous. And you're gone for long spells of time. And there's no real communication. Are they okay? There's still a space that I go to when I'm home. I walk Signal Hill every time I go home. And there's not the classic route that if you went to Newfoundland for the first time and someone told you where Signal Hill and the path is, but left of it to the parking lot, there's a place where the women mostly would go and watch to see the boats come in, to see their partners coming home. Come on.
I love that.
Yeah, it's the name of it is failing me right now, but it's also a really beautiful name of the little mountain. Anyway, so tell us who you are, because I met you sitting in your chair.
Yeah. So I'm Jess. Legal last name, still not my married name because I have a gorgeous passport picture that I haven't given up yet. But we'll use my married name, which is Jess Rose.
Jess Rose?
Yeah. Like the flower.
But wait, if someone goes to find you at your work, because maybe they'll want to, it's Packman at work?
I don't really use last names, but I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Jess Packman, which is
so good.
It's a last name. Yeah. And I'm a hairstylist at JetBlack in Ottawa. And you were in my chair.
I was.
And I'm lucky enough to kind of pseudo share you with my boss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Certain things, Yeah.
I love it.
I can't say you're fully my client. I don't, but I will gladly take whatever I can get of you.
Ilona will kill us.
Yeah. Excuse me, what about
But
it? Yeah.
she has agreed to share to partial
Yeah.
custody.
I will be your Suzanne mama.
I love it. From the first moment I sat in your chair, I think the appointment was a couple of hours and we didn't stop talking. And when I told you, I'm like, oh, I think we're going to do this podcast. And we met for coffee because I'm like, Jess, you have a million things to talk about on this podcast. I've no doubt I could probably just continue chatting with you for the next 6 months and we would not run out of stories to tell.
Yeah.
But the thing that stuck when we sat down and had a coffee is the fact that we both had hysterectomies and what led us to get them and how we're feeling afterwards. Because as we both shared with each other, there's a lot of women out there that are like, when I was telling people I'm getting a hysterectomy, I would get a lot of questions like, how in the world did you get it? Who's your doctor? Can she fit me in? Yeah, people aren't getting the healthcare they need. And let me just preface this for anyone listening. We're not experts. We're just two humans that had a hysterectomy. But we'll tell you our story and how it came to be and how it feels afterwards. And yeah, but if you have medical questions or you need to be diagnosed with endometriosis or something, yeah, please, it's not Nadine and Jess.
No,
No.
I am. My Instagram handle is Hair Doctor Jess. So I just don't want that to confuse anybody with Dr. Jess is a different
Yeah,
thing.
it's a different Instagram handle.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so you had endometriosis.
yeah.
I guess you
Like
still have
really
it. Do you
bad.
always have it?
Well, they tried to take it out for the most part. So you're technically considered once they know you have it forever.
Okay.
Whether or not it rears its little head is a different story.
When did you first realize that your symptoms on your period were not like your little friends?
I always find it so funny because I have like aunts and a single mom. And so I felt like the only thing I heard about periods growing up were just like they were disastrous. As soon as you got them, your life was going to be like way worse. Like they just a terrible portion of life. So when I started getting them and I had like really bad cramps and it was super heavy and whatever, I was like, oh, yeah, like, okay, this is what everyone's been talking about. And I think, even outside the female circle, it's just known as this terrible thing. And, women complain. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm just fitting in perfectly into the regular kind of category. And then the first time I really noticed it was different, I had a new school, lots of new schools. That'll be next time's podcast. A new friend I had made. I think I was 13 and I was staying over at her house and my cramps got so bad. I was like, I have to have a bath. And when you're like 13, that is the least cool thing to do ever. Like, oh, we're having like a hot sleepover. We're, talking about 7 minutes in heaven and like, can I have a bath? So I did that. And then I woke up to like the firefighters and EMT, like pulling my naked body out of this bathroom because I had passed out in the bath because they were so bad. So I was like, okay, that's not a story I've heard before.
And you,
Yeah,
like, how old were you when you started getting your period?
13.
Oh God, this
So,
happens.
it was maybe like 7 months down the road or whatever, but I was like, yeah, took a quick turn.
Okay, two questions different.
Yeah.
First one, did you remain friends with that 13-year-old? Was she kind?
Like, I literally don't remember who she is because I'm pretty sure we probably never spoke again.
Because you were
Like, I can't
mortified
remember.
and that
Yeah.
was like this new weird girl at school.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I don't think she brought it up at school, but
okay.
at the same time, I'm like, maybe I just never went back to that school. Like there was a lot going on in my life around that time, so it's possible I just didn't go back there. I think that could have been an option too.
There's a podcast happening on the west coast of Canada where a woman's like, when I was 13, a friend sucked over, passed out of my bathtub, and I never saw her again.
And I never tried to make a friend again.
And
I
it's
have
you.
no
She's
friends.
okay. So did they bring you to the hospital or did they bring you home? What happened?
I think they just took me out and I went home. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty crazy.
And were
Like
you
I
like,
think if you're like I think they just thought, oh, you're in a bath for that long. Maybe you got hot.
Right. And no one
So
said, "Oh, you've passed out because your period cramps were so intense. Let's check
no,
on this."
no,
It's like
not
this
at all.
is when girls learn to just buckle down and deal with pain. I
Yeah,
think. It could be earlier. I don't know.
totally.
But I used to also get really bad periods, like so bad that I would turn. I used to throw up for a couple of days straight, and I used to
Yeah,
turn just ghost white. And I remember one time sitting in school, and again, like buckle down, like grin and bear it. This is what all girls go through.
yeah,
And a teacher, like halfway through class, I think I must have been dazed because I was not feeling good. And he said, "Nadine, you're white. Go with your friend and call and get a ride home." And my friend's dad came and got me at school and dropped me to my house. And it's not something you talked about. I don't even know if I said, I'm sure my friend knew it was my period, but nobody was like, "This seems intense." I've never turned white
yeah,
and almost passed out in school or in a
yeah,
bathtub, but it's teaching little girls very early on that our bodies are just meant to be that painful.
yeah. And I think like even later on, once they're like, oh, well, yeah, like it's just bad. Even as an adult, there was a point one time right before COVID actually that I called 811 because I realized I'd had my period for 81 days. And I
Oh,
was like, I don't know. So I called them and I was like, is this bad? And she was like, ma'am, like, I need you to get to the nearest emergency room. And like, I think I just terrified it. I remember sitting there and it just stopped. And I'm like, like in the hospital room. But the fact that she put me ahead of all these calls, like right away, I got to talk to a nurse and stuff. But, that was that was like the day before we closed down for COVID.
right.
So I would have been like 32, 33, still thinking like, well, yeah, things just get like really bad sometimes, so yeah, yeah,
81 days.
I
Where
know.
did they
Yeah.
test your iron levels or were you always on iron pills?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
You're always on
I've been
iron
anemic
pills.
since the dawn of time. Yeah.
Because of your periods? Is that why? Because they're so.
Yeah. There was like our vegan stint that probably didn't help either,
Hmm.
but yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you're this little 13-year-old kid. And you get it pulled out of the bathtub and you're like, that's intense. I don't know, do you think to tell someone like, these feel worse than I've been told? Or you just continue living your life and every month? But yeah, you do. You just
Yeah.
continue. Okay.
Yeah. Like nothing different. I mean, there are some points where, like either colleagues or friends would be like, oh my gosh, my cramps are so bad. Like, can someone give me half a Tylenol? And I was like, what?
Half a Tylenol?
But also, I'm like 5'9" and something. Like, I'm tall. I'm not like a tiny person. So I thought, oh, maybe I just require more pain meds
Mm.
to do something. But then I started to see the shift as I got older when I was boxing, realizing from injuries or whatever that I actually have a really high pain tolerance. And then that's sort of started, you know, had me thinking like, well, if I'm taking 16 extra strength Advil a day or a Dilaudid and 10 extra strength Advil, like maybe something's wrong.
Oh my God, that's how
Yeah.
much you would have to take. And okay, for anybody that doesn't get a period or hasn't had a period, the first 2 days for me were always the worst. Is it the same for you, Jess?
Yeah.
Like the
So it
heaviest,
would
the
be
most
like the
pain?
3 days before I'm like throwing up and cramps like before it even starts. And then, yeah, day 1 and 2, terrible. Day 3, like usually chill, maybe day 4. And then it would come back and like with a vengeance. And so they were like 7 to 8 days long.
Yeah, okay. And so
Yeah.
when you would have to take the like 16 extra strength painkillers, would it
Yeah.
be what days? How many days?
Day 1 and 2 before, then actual day 1, 2, day 4, 5.
Oh my gosh,
So
that's
then they
so
had
hard on your
me,
body.
right? So then they had me on medication to like stop that from giving me ulcers or stomach cancer or whatever.
So a
Yeah.
doctor knew you were taking that much pain meds and they were like, okay, instead of we should investigate this a little further. Because at the time, you still didn't know you had endometriosis. You still didn't have a diagnosis.
At that point, yeah, no. No, not when I started needing to take that. I mean, by the time it got to like hydromorphone, like prescription strength painkillers, then we did know
Okay.
because that's how I got those. But yeah, at that point now.
When did you, okay, number one, how many years did you go taking that much extra strength, whatever, Advil, Tylenol, whatever you took, 5 days every single month, which is so hard on your body, and then take
Mhm.
drugs to counter the effects of how hard that is on your stomach lining and
Yeah.
your liver and kidneys? How many years did that go on?
Probably started when I was around 17, like actively taking that much all the time until right before I had my hysterectomy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's, oh, you're bad.
So I've had constant, checking my kidneys and my liver and my stomach and like a miracle that it's all good. I've never had any side effects from that. So, yeah.
When did you get the official diagnosis with endometriosis?
Oh my gosh. This is actually kind of funny because the timing is like so clear to me only because it was 2019 and I was engaged and I was taking all of my girlfriends to Vegas for my bachelorette party. And it was also going to be the weekend of my birthday. And it was like the day before I was at work. It was my last day before I went away. And my husband was picking me up, and I was just sitting on a chair. And I stood up and I felt like I'd been shot by a gun.
Hmm.
Like it was the most intense pain. I'd never had anything like that before. So he took me to the hospital. And luckily, there was a woman there. So we come in, I'm like doubled over in pain. Can I swear? Can I
Yeah,
swear on
go
here?
for it.
Okay. So I'm doubled over in pain and I hear this, what the fuck are you doing here? And I look up and it's this woman, Helen, who's like head of all the ER doctors who I box with, who would like, put bones back in place and whatever. Like she knew how hard I could get hit and be fine, how much pain I could endure, how high of a pain tolerance I had. And so I remember looking at her when she said that. She looked at the nurse and she said, if this bitch is in that much pain, something is wrong.
Mm.
And like instantly I'm in the back and I was like, they need to give me pain meds. Like, this is terrible. And I remember them giving it to me because they said, oh my God, Andrew, he's sitting next to me, my husband. And they said, my head is sinking into my body like a turtle and I can't stop it. And it's going. And he was like, no, I'm looking at your head. It's fine. But I didn't quite understand what was going on because it didn't touch the pain. Like I
No.
was high, but I was like, I'm just turning into a turtle
Ugh.
and it still really hurts. So, and then they put me on a drip of it instead of just like a shot or whatever. And I remember being over on the side on this drip and watching one of the nurses say to the other, she's sucking back this Dilaudid like a thirsty camel. And I was like, and my first fear was actually they're going to think I'm a drug addict
Right, that you're like
and they're going to
painkiller.
stop giving
Mm.
this to me. And I was like panicked, not even like, what's the problem? Like, you can't stop giving this to me. So I was ambulanced out to the other hospital in Victoria. And, then I'm just so high. And it was like, you're going to have a surgery. I didn't really understand why. They knew I had a cyst. They thought maybe it was a torsion cyst. Those can kill you.
That's
So,
when you're
um,
a torsion cyst is when the cyst can it turns, right? And they can cut off blood
yeah,
flow. Yeah.
blood flow to like your
Major organs.
legs and major organs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
So they were like, we need to do this exploratory surgery. I remember my surgeon had come in and talked to me. I'd never met her. She's like, this is an emerge situation. She was very pregnant. She was very angry. Didn't want to ask very many questions. I think she turned out to be lovely. I think she was just very pregnant, very uncomfortable.
Mm.
So I didn't ask very many questions. And I remember after or before I went in, she came in and she said, where's your pain on a 9 to 10? And I said, or on a scale of 1 to 10. And I said, probably like an 8 or a 9. And I remember after surgery, she came back and she said, I need to apologize to you. Because when people say 9s and 10s, most of the time it's like, okay, we get it. But if you're able to say 9 or 10, you're probably not a 9 or 10. And she said, when we got in there, I would have guessed you would have been a 20 to 25 out of 10 on a pain. She said, blood, old blood, new blood, like just, she said, I could see years of chaos.
Oh,
And I was
I
like, so
actually
I
have
can
cold
recover in
shivers.
Vegas at the pool, right?
Oh,
She was like, no,
Jess.
no, you can't. So, yeah.
So is that when she said, this is what this is? It's endometriosis?
She didn't tell me then. She referred me to a gynecologist, and that was great because they were so hard to get.
Yeah.
And so then I had one. Shout out to him as well. Also, his name is Harold Hunt. He would say, yes, my name is Harry Hunt. I was made to be a gynecologist. Like the best.
Is he still on the West
The
Coast?
best. Harry Hunt in Victoria,
Yeah.
10 out of 10 gynecologist. Love him so much. And he told me, he was like, this is what you have. You have it stage 4 of 4 stages. If there was a stage 5, you would have stage 5. Like, this is bad. So, yeah, but it was relieving to know, oh, I'm not just like a wuss who's having regular cramps and like unable to breathe properly. I used to do this like Lamaze breathing when my cramps would get too bad. Like, so knowing it was a thing, like it had a name, it existed, was like so powerful. And yeah, then I felt like I could start to figure out what we could do about it.
It's almost validating because, again, we're like taught to grin and bear it. So if we're the one that's in the hospital or passing out in a bathtub or whatever, it's our fault. Oh, we can't tolerate pain as well as our moms
Yeah.
and grandparents and
Yeah.
friends. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot of self-blame. It's not self-kindness, that's for sure. So
Yeah.
when they went in and did this exploratory surgery before you got sent to Harry Hunt, should she cut out? I'm not that familiar with endometriosis, and again, we are not doctors, but did she? What do you do? Did she take it out? Could she remove it? What was this? What's the story?
No, she didn't. I think they could have. I think in an emergency situation like that, they didn't. From what I know, the more times they try and take it out, if they don't know they can get everything, if anything's left, it's going to go all back. But also the scar tissue from what they have removed makes it even worse, is how I understand it. So I think if there isn't a mapped out plan to know you're going to get everything, you don't go there.
And maybe I should Google this, but I'll leave it to you to explain. And then if we want to Google it, we can Google it. What is endometriosis?
Okay, so endometriosis essentially is like the uterine lining that we like shed that is our period. It grows outside of the uterus and it spreads to anything. It can be like solo. Endometriomas are like groupings, balls kind of it, or it can grow on things and it grows like, from what I've read, can grow actually kind of like lace on it. So like little pieces like here and there. And I mean, in extreme cases, it can grow in your eyes, your brain.
Stop.
Like it kind of works its way up, right? So
what?
I mean,
Swear?
I had
really?
it. Oh yeah, your lungs. It can, like in extreme cases,
Okay.
extreme, untreated, horrible cases. But so I had it on my bowel, which I will say the kind of telltale signs that you have this are tremendously painful periods and or heavy periods. Then also like pain with numero dos in the bathroom.
Okay.
And sex. And I didn't have those two.
Okay.
No pain with sex, no bathroom pain.
Okay.
So that's why they thought it wasn't that for the longest time. But the more women I meet who have been diagnosed with it, they were like, yeah, I was missing, 2 2 markers or 1 marker or whatever. So yeah, it was bowel, on my appendix, on my bladder, on like everywhere.
That's what, when she said there was remnants of years of chaos, that's what she meant when the
Yeah.
surgeon. Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? I never knew that endometriosis could grow on other parts of the body. Yeah, this is new for me.
Yeah.
Whoa. So it
Yeah.
really is a lot of, I guess, the surgeon said it best, internal chaos and building up over
Yeah.
time. So it spreads over time.
Yeah.
In some cases, maybe some cases.
Yeah.
So before, okay, you get this diagnosis, you're still in BC. What do you do with it? Like you go to see this gynecologist because they haven't cut out
Yeah.
any of the endometriosis. You go to see him. What's the plan here?
So this is where like some of the frustration is. And I think that there's a large majority of doctors who are just doing what they know to do, even if it doesn't always end up being the best. So the big thing we were told was like, have a baby,
What?
have a baby. Your progesterone levels go up, it stops it, it's going to stop your pain, it's going to, and like, so that was the suggestion. I mean, luckily we were in a place that we were like, okay, yeah, it'd be great to start trying for a baby. Like, we're getting married, we're settled more than we have ever been. We're not they need to be married to have a baby, but so okay. But we also, like, mom, don't ever listen to this, but we also had realized, like, at that point we were like probably 11, 12 years into the pull and pray, and like had never had a pregnancy scare or
Mm.
anything. And so we were like, okay, we'll actively try to have a baby, but we also don't know what that's going to look like. And that resulted in, I think it ended up being 3 solid years of trying at that point before we ended up at a fertility clinic.
And while you're trying for these 3 years,
Mhm.
what's the game plan to take care of you every single month when this?
There wasn't one.
Oh, Jess.
There wasn't one really. Yeah. I mean, like, I had one other surgery, and that was just because I ended up having a cyst that was like the size of a grapefruit.
Whoa.
So, and I kind of, not knowing as much as I know now, I thought when I'm going in for these surgeries, you're doing something for the endo too. No, nothing ever had. I'd never had. So, just like taking those out, and like recovery was so painful and sore, and
From the
we
cyst
weren't further
removal?
ahead. Yeah,
Yeah.
like we weren't further ahead with any of the endo stuff. And yeah.
I'm so sorry about that. I do hear from other women that I know that have endometriosis, and I have been told that to get the diagnosis it's infuriating. Like it's so long.
Yeah.
I don't know what the average is. I want to say 7 years, but I'm honestly making that up. But it is
Yeah.
something like that. There's a really long time to get a diagnosis, and I'm not quite sure why. And not just like you want a diagnosis for the validation, it's so painful. Like I cannot believe
Yeah.
every single month that you had to go through that. And you're trying to have a baby, so you don't have an IUD, you're not on.
No, I
Right.
had tried those before too, intermittently. I had tried birth control, and I had roommates at the time I tried birth control. And I remember getting home late from work and everyone was sleeping. And I was like, I could just burn the house down and say I worked late. And the next day I went to my doctor and he was like, never again. Like, you're never going on those again.
Because it affects your mental
And then
health.
yeah, like I have never, and to this day, still have not had thoughts of killing anybody. And that was like a scary,
Mm.
And so then I had gone on progesterone and I gained like just shy, I think like 2 pounds shy of 70 pounds in 3 months.
Oh my God, wait. Why? Okay, couple
Yeah.
questions. Why did they put you on progesterone?
Because it helps the endo from growing, essentially.
Oh my.
Like, I'm on it again.
Is
I'm on
this
it now.
while you're, is this, are you on this while you're trying to have a baby, or is this pre go have a baby?
Pre-baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they put you on progesterone. You gained 70 pounds in 3 months. And they're
Yeah.
just, yeah, man, that's just a side effect. Deal with it.
Yeah. And so there was a point where I was like,
Oh my
okay, like
gosh.
if we're like one part of health is being destroyed to try and help another part of health. So I just went off of it.
Okay, you went off of it.
Yeah.
What about those 70 pounds? Were they, was it so linked to the medication that they came off easily, or?
No, they're still here. A lot of them are still here. And I'm back on the
Oh,
progesterone. So everybody pray for me.
oh my
No,
gosh.
it's hard. And it's so interesting too, because I've been told so many times, like, this is a benign disease. It will not kill you. So if you want help for it, that's a choice. And so a side effect like weight gain, that is funny because if you're overweight outside of this scenario, it's considered dangerous. When I talked about gaining all this weight, it was talked about as if I was like upset with an aesthetic.
Oh my God, it's like they're
And
gaslighting you for trying to just
yeah,
get the
a
best
hundred
health care for
percent,
yourself.
100%. Yeah. And I don't know if that's just like who I ended up dealing with in BC. And that was not all, that was not Dr. Hunt. That was like, various people throughout the years. I don't know if that was just who I saw or like a generalized BC situation, because I found things very different in Ontario
Okay.
since we moved here. Yeah.
So before we, I guess maybe it aligns. The 3 years that you were trying to have a baby, obviously you didn't get
Mhm.
pregnant. I say that because I know
Mhm.
you don't have a baby. So
Yeah.
that 3 years you're trying to have a baby because the medical advice you were given is that your body being pregnant will help alleviate your endometriosis. Okay.
Mhm.
You don't get pregnant after 3 years of trying. You still have these monthly brutal periods, and then
Yeah.
you and Andrew end up in a fertility clinic.
Yeah. So we moved to Ontario, and it's actually funny, like our truck broke down in Thunder Bay and we were like filling out things to get our Ontario healthcare going
Yeah.
in Ontario, because it was like as soon as we got here, we were like in the fertility clinic, like
Oh,
right away.
you moved here from
Ontario,
BC. Wait, sorry, just to understand the story. You moved here
yeah,
from
no,
BC. What year?
2022.
And you hadn't started in a fertility clinic before you moved here. You waited till you got here to do
Yeah,
that. Okay, so you
yeah,
drove here
yeah.
from BC?
We drove here.
Fun.
I would not recommend it. Unless you want to break up with your partner, I would not recommend it.
David and I went to Newfoundland in the summer, but when we drove back in January one
Yeah.
year, which was last January, he looked at me. We were on the Port aux Basques Highway. It was like, I don't know, 9 p.m. at night. It was snow squalls. And he was like, never again. Just so you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
never ask me to do this
Yeah.
again. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Now that we've done it, I'm like, great. We never have to do it
No,
again.
I always
Yeah.
want to do it. I'm like, he'll get over it. And it's been almost a year. And he's, I'm not over it. A week, I'll drive there
Yeah.
anytime in the summer, but no more winter. Okay, so you drive here and you start fertility treatments here. Did you choose that? Or is it just because of the timing?
Yeah. There were a couple different things. We knew we were moving to Ontario. In Ontario, you get government funded if you have a reason, like one on the house round of IVF, which
Oh,
is crazy. It's crazy. That's a crazy amount of money. There are a lot of things you need to pay for. You have to pay for your drugs and whatever else. But that is a huge thing, especially if you are like needing to attempt with multiple rounds or whatever. So that was something we were like, you know, we don't want to be dealing with a clinic in BC when we're moving here. And that was a perk of here. So yeah.
nice. Okay. And so how was that experience? Do you mind talking about it?
Not at all. No, I think our attitude, like long before we knew any of this, we really had an attitude, both Andrew and I, of, we're gonna have kids if we're supposed to have kids. He was never dead set on having kids. And honestly, I wasn't either. Like I thought I was worried about like childhood trauma and am I going to screw my kid up? But I thought I would be a good mom and it was something I wanted, but I felt like it was a little, I don't know, up and down. So we just really always had talked about, we're going to have a great life no matter what. And it might look great in this way or it might look great in that way, but it's going to be great. And so when we started, actually, there's a few tests they do ahead of time. And we didn't get that far into it because, in the grand scheme of IVF, basically the second thing you do after taking drugs is an egg retrieval. And after they did all their scans and their tests and stuff, they realized that you've got your uterus and like your ovaries should be here. And mine had been pulled by my endometriosis behind my uterus and it's called kissing. They're actually touching. And then my uterus had been pulled in front of that to be like shaped like a wave.
Come on.
I know. So
that sounds so
like that's
painful.
Hey? Totally. Yeah. So there was no way to actually do an egg retrieval. There was no way to like get at my ovaries to do it. Plus, they didn't get this far, but I just like kind of assumed like a uterus shaped like a wave is like a little inhospitable. like it's not supposed to be shaped like that. And
you're like, you're taking the connection to the sea from BC way too seriously,
yes.
Uterus.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So
Jess.
they essentially said like, this is not an option. They did give an option. You could go an egg donor route with a surrogate route and basically just be like a bystander for quite a while. And I like totally applaud people that go that route. It wasn't something for me and it wasn't something for Andrew. And, even like one of my best friends was like, oh, I'll be a surrogate. You want an egg? Like, yeah, whatever you want. And like, there's no words to describe someone offering that to you, but I just didn't feel connected to that option. So then once I knew that she was only problematic, we were able to kind of talk about other things.
How did it feel when you were told that, yeah, you couldn't have a baby?
Like, yeah, really devastating.
I mean, sorry.
You know enough about my life to know it hasn't been easy. There's been a lot of stuff. And I just was like, really? Like, I couldn't just have one thing that didn't turn out like this. But at the same time, I think all the conversations that Andrew and I had beforehand about our life can look good either way. And I remember having a conversation with our fertility doctor. This is at the Ottawa Fertility Clinic. She was great. And I said, like, I don't want you to take my lack of, immediate tears or not losing my mind as like, I'm not serious about this. But I've told myself all along the way that there are so many women who can't have babies. Like, why would it be me? Why would I automatically assume, like, okay, there's lots of women who can't, but I won't be one of them. And it sounded kind of distant and, like really a negative approach, but I think it really saved me personally because it was very much in tune with like, this is a possibility. And I love just like not, those people that are like, and I stayed positive the whole time. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so sweet. I'm totally not that sweet. I'm not like that. I'm like, let's deal with like the real possibilities so that I know. And then, yeah, when it came out that was it, I was like, we prepared for this. We've been, and of course I cried a lot. And my husband, I remember him crying and me being a little bit surprised that he was crying. And he said, I'm just so sad that you're sad.
Ugh.
Like, which was, uh, because, that's almost harder to watch than like just him being sad for himself. But again, even with him, it was sad to hear, but we always knew it was a possibility. Yeah.
I'm sorry you went through that. That's
Oh, thank you.
yeah, I'm glad you had a good partner with you. I love that you were like, when I found out she was not going to be used for purpose, she being your uterus, because I
Yeah.
saw you make that
Yeah.
hand gesture. Was it then? I know obviously you took some time to digest all of that information and what that meant for
Mhm.
your future and for your relationship and
Mhm.
for you. When was the point where you started to think, okay, if I'm not going to be able to have a child carrying it myself, I'm going to start to address this endometriosis? Was this did you put the thought of a hysterectomy in your head? Or did a doctor say, look, if you're not going to have a baby, then this is what we can do next?
Yeah, it was actually so like I find this term so cheesy, but a blessing in disguise because the Ottawa Fertility Clinic was actually who referred me to my surgeon. And like shout out Sukbar Sunny Singh at the Riverside Ottawa Women's Clinic, like the goat, the goat,
Yeah.
the goat. So a few things I didn't know. He is an endometriosis specialist.
Okay.
We don't even have one of those in BC. As far as I've heard, we don't have one of those. I'm sure it would have been sent to one, but that's all he does. And when you look him up, he's ranked like, oh, I don't want to give any numbers because I'm going to do it wrong, but like in North America, very high. So I didn't know there were doctors who only did that. I thought there were just gynecologists. They have on their team, I've been told a million times, the only way to get diagnosed with endo is to do surgery, exploratory. They have this ultrasound like master there who ultrasounds for endo so that you don't have to have exploratory surgery. Like this place is incredible. So they sent me there. I got hooked up with him and it was like surgery. You need surgery. We're going to take out all your endo. And then as kind of I think we got to know each other a little bit better and I was on the wait list for surgery. It was like I had tried to get an IUD and like they literally couldn't even put it in
Why?
because my stuff is like all shaped differently.
Oh,
So
I like
like
curl up like this because I know how
oh
it's
buddy.
painful to have an ID put in it anyway. To be
Yeah.
honest, mine didn't hurt because I just had a flippin' biopsy of my cervix, which was the worst pain
Yeah.
I've ever felt in my life. Quick pain,
Oh,
but
yeah.
awful. I made my sister come with me. I made my sister stay in the room with me while I got that done. And
Good.
and then right away the doctor put in the IUD, so I was like that was
Yeah.
nothing because what I just had done was awful,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
10 out of 10. But all that to say, an IUD insertion is so fucking painful, and we are
Yeah.
never offered anything. Wait, shout out to my gynecologist, Dr. Sue Thorne, who's her own goat, like amazing. I've gotten the
Yeah.
best healthcare,
Yeah.
and she
Love it.
did before I had it done. Actually, my biopsy and my IUD insertion was scheduled for two different appointments, and she called me herself and was like, "Yo, these are going to be two difficult appointments. Let's just do them in one. It's going to be
Yeah.
fine. Do you want something before? Are you anxious?" So she did talk me through it, and I,
Yeah.
because little 13-year-old Nadine was like Baron grunted. I was like, "No, I don't need anything. Like people have had this done a million times. My sister's had it done. It'll be fine."
Yeah.
And God, it wasn't for about 7 seconds, really wasn't fine. But then it was. If you can take something, my fellow friends, take something. Because why
Do.
wouldn't
Yeah.
you?
Do.
Don't do what I
They're
did.
there.
Okay, so an IUD insertion is awful as it is, and women mostly are not offered any fucking help to get it done. It's just, what? Just
No.
do it. I can't even imagine how painful it must have been if they were trying to root it around up there and it wasn't going in.
Well, especially because they use a fake one because they're so expensive, right? that they're like, they use a fake one to see if it's going to work so that if it doesn't, you're not opening this $700 thing. So after, oh my God, probably like half an hour and like literal blood dripping on the floor.
Jess.
And it was like one of his fellows or something trying to do it that I love her. She's so great. But then he came in and he was like, oh yeah, it's all good. Let's try it, and couldn't. And so then it was like, okay, look, you can't gain 70 pounds in 3 months again. You can't have a baby. You can't get an IUD. So that came up as an option. And it was
What came up as an option? Hysterectomy?
bless them. Sorry, a hysterectomy.
Okay.
And you can't just ask for one.
No.
You have to like medically not be able to have a baby.
You should be able to ask for one, FYI, to the world.
100%. It's so rude.
Yeah.
It's so rude to not know. Now, I will say too, the thought idea of a man coming in and saying like, I can't have one of those or whatever. But I will say, Dr. Singh came in and he said, my name is Dr. Singh. First of all, you women are like such tough bitches. He said, men don't get this because we couldn't handle it. Just like he recognized that he was a man. He recognized that he was never going to feel like what this was. That made such a big difference for me because I knew he wasn't going to be like, oh, okay, it's not a big deal.
Right.
So then when this came up, the hysterectomy offer, it was very like, okay, so there is this possibility, I want you to go home and think of it. And I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. And I think everyone involved was surprised because very rarely do I see Dr. Singh. He's got 1,000 people underneath him, and that's usually who I deal with. But it just felt like as soon as it was brought up, I was like, oh my God, like, why haven't we done this before? Yeah. Yes.
So between that, okay, so that's how you got the opportunity to have a hysterectomy. I also think it's important for people to understand it's not, I'm going to opt for this surgery. It takes a while. Okay, so just to share my story, if anybody's curious how I got a hysterectomy, I also had really bad periods. I never thought I had endometriosis. I just thought I literally had really bad periods. And I got an IUD, and that really helped. And when I was younger, I had some kind of muscle relaxant that I was prescribed in my teenage years. Yeah, it was great. So they really helped, whatever it was. I can't remember what it was, but I would always have those. And then birth control pill helped with my cramps. And then the IUD, I feel like it really helped. I still got a period with my IUD. I never stopped bleeding, which too bad. But anyway, doesn't matter. It was lighter and it didn't hurt as much. And then all of a sudden it started really paining again. And I remember being at a personal training session and I remember thinking like, I don't feel good. Something is off with my body. So previous to this moment, I had been in Prince Edward County and went for a bike ride. And I used to use a Diva cup, which is like the little cup that collects blood instead of
brave cup.
I loved it. And it didn't last as long. Like I would have to empty it more often than other people because I used to bleed a lot. And I was like, whatever. And we biked from our Airbnb down to Sandbanks. And about 10 minutes out from the beach, I was like, David, something is not right. We need a bathroom. He's okay, babe, I'm on the lookout. So he finds me a bathroom that's like a public bathroom, but it's just one stall. Like the whole room was just one toilet and it had space and no one was waiting. So I didn't feel stressed. And at one point, like high up on the wall was a window with a screen. He was outside on his bike and he said, babe, are you okay in there? And I was like, no, man, it's a real bloodbath. Like there was blood on the floor. There was blood. It was so much bleeding. And I'd only had this Diva cup in for 40 minutes because that's how long the bike ride was. Because I just changed it before I go on the bike ride. And he was like, do you need anything? I'm like, no, just give me a minute. Now I'm stressed. Now my whole body's stressed and can't get this thing back in because I'm so stressed out. I don't know why I'm bleeding so much. Anyway, shove that thing back in, basically diagonal because I was like, I just had to get something in, get back on that bike. Came out and I think I had a bathing suit on and probably shorts because we were going to get in the water. And I had on a white linen shirt. And when I came out, he looked at me and I cleaned up the bathroom. I cleaned up the floor. Very respectful of that bathroom, but it was a mess.
Yeah.
I get out, he looks at me and his jaw drops. He's like, why is there blood on your shirt? And I looked down and he was like, how?
I don't know.
I can't even explain it. I don't know what's happening.
It's everywhere.
So I knew things were getting worse. And I told my gynecologist. Anyway, so this time this is months later, I'm at this personal training session and I'm like, I don't feel good. And I get home and I'm like, I'm just going to get in the bath. Something's not right. And I get in the bath and then all of a sudden I burst my IUD. They literally just pulled it out. I was like, oh, no. What?
That's not supposed to happen.
And I had a appointment with Dr. Thorne that week. So I get into her office and she's taking me through the process of an ablation, and it sounds awful. If anybody doesn't know, like they burn the lining of your uterus, and hopefully it helps, but you may just have to do it again. It may not work. And
like cauterizing it, kind of?
I guess so. They're like burning off the uterine lining so it stops shedding. And so I'd get that done and get an IUD in again. And so as she's walking me through this process, she says, okay, but I'm going to have to do another cervical biopsy. And I was like, no, like, that I remember that. No. And she said, okay, the other option is a hysterectomy. And I felt almost like I couldn't possibly ask for that. And she was like, why? And I'm like, that just seems extreme. And she was like, what you're experiencing is extreme. She was like, you don't want kids. Your uterus is obviously very unhappy. It's always been really painful. You're bleeding an outrageous amount. And she was like, why? What is it about a hysterectomy? And I was like, no one seems to get them. That seems really hard to get. Like, why should I? Or I don't know what was going through my head. It seemed outrageous. So anyway, she said to me, she's like, Nadine, take time, make your decision. Like I can book it. Here's some dates. Like if you want to book it, you can change your mind at any time. Sit with this. Yeah. But she was like, let's book something in. So you get me, because I wanted her to do it. And she said, but I will tell you that no woman has ever come back to me and said, God, I wish I had my uterus back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and so I got in the car and I called my sister and I said, I just been offered the option of having a hysterectomy. Is this crazy? And she said, Nadine, if someone called me today and was like, you can get in on a cancellation, I would drive there immediately. Because she's been trying to get a hysterectomy probably for 10 years. Like she's gone through an outrageous experience and no doctor will give it to her. They just keep we need to do all the other options. Yeah. She's 50 fucking 3. Just give this woman a hysterectomy. Anyway, I think it seems so outrageous because it's never an option on the table, or it's not often an option on the table, which is crazy to me. Like, why don't we have that say over our bodies? And I want to tell you what I had, because I always get the name wrong. So basically, the lining of my uterus was growing into the muscle around. So it is called meiosis. Yeah, how do you say it?
Yeah.
Adenomyosis.
Yeah. Same.
So she said you had adenomyosis. So the endometrial tissue, which normally lines uterus, grows into the muscular wall of the uterus. This can cause symptoms like heavy, painful periods and chronic pelvic pain. I'm like, yeah, man. I guess you can't be diagnosed until they go in and see. Anyway, she said, Nadine, everything you experienced was real, by the way. Because I still, even when I was wheeled in to get the hysterectomy, I still felt like I was making a big fuss. My periods
you don't really
hurt.
need this, but I guess, like, if you're here.
But I just happen to have a really great doctor, so I get to have this. And she knew that's how I felt. So I love that when I woke up and she came in, she's like, FYI, your uterus was real angry. And she needed to come out. But
bad.
So that was 40. I was 44. So that's what, 30 years of that condition. And she was like, FYI, I think your sister has the same thing. It is like given her condition and what's happened with her body. And she still won't, no one's still offering her a hysterectomy. Yeah. Like, why can't we just fucking ask for it?
I mean, too, if she has that, from all the tests and surgeries and everything I've had, they didn't know that I had the same thing as you until after. And they didn't know that I had fibroids as well, which is like, they're like things that grow also in your uterus. Like, from all of that exploring, they didn't know that.
So you had endometriosis and adenomyosis.
Endometriosis, adenomyosis, and fibroids.
You had all of it.
And many cysts.
Oh my God, your body.
I know.
So I had my hysterectomy 2 years ago this December, and it's glorious. You just
So
had
good.
yours.
I'm 9 weeks tomorrow.
How do you feel?
So good. Again, like I was at work the other day and I had a client and I was like, oh, if you don't want children, like everyone should have one.
Do this.
I mean, really, in terms of the uterus, it doesn't really do us much else than babies.
And I got to keep my ovaries,
The
so it didn't
ovaries are
push me.
different.
Yeah, it didn't push me
That's it.
into menopause. I
Yeah.
still have my ovaries.
Yeah.
They took out my fallopian tubes and my uterus. So normal
Okay.
FYI people,
Yeah.
normal perimenopause, menopause.
Yes.
You
And
too?
same. They took out my uterus, my cervix, because they were like, if we take this
Yeah, I
out, you
think I
can't get
got.
cervical cancer.
Yeah, I think they did the
You
same for
also
me. Yeah.
don't really need it. Yeah. Kept my ovaries, took out my appendix,
Oh,
which was, he was so cute. When he came to see me after surgery, he had said, look, I'm going to try and save your ovaries and I'm going to try and save your appendix. Like, we'll see how it is. And he came in and he was like, it was so diseased. I remember his hands being up like that. It was so diseased.
your appendix.
We took it out.
But
And
your
along the way, I
ovaries
was like, just take it.
and your ovaries you still
Because
have.
I do.
Okay, great.
He works some real magic. Now, even though he kept them, they were very angry. They do not like to be moved around. So that's where kind of like, they say up to like 6 months of hormonal whatever, also mixed with perimenopause. Because thanks, mom. And now I'm on hormones. So it's quite the cocktail.
Yeah.
But
While
they
your
do
body
settle
adjusts.
down from being touched after about 6 months.
So you're right away you went on hormone replacement therapy?
No, I only went on after my like 6 week checkup because basically if they left like the tiniest grain of salt of endo in there, it will just fill everything again. So, I mean, you can only get your uterus removed once, but that can multiply and I
Okay.
can keep having to have surgery. So it's supposed to help with that.
So are you on estrogen and progesterone?
Just progesterone. Yeah.
Progesterone.
Endo is estrogen dependent. So you don't want any.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm the opposite. I'm on estrogen, hormone replacement
Yeah.
therapy, but no progesterone because I
Okay.
can't remember why, but I didn't need it for whatever reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't go
Yeah.
on
I
that right
mean,
away. I think that was a year later when I went and had another appointment with Dr. Thorne and came to realize some symptoms that were happening. And she was like, you can try hormone replacement therapy. And because of that awful study that was like ridiculously, that study that was done about hormone replacement therapy and scared all women everywhere in the
giving you
90s.
breast
Was it
cancer
the 90s?
and
Yeah, all
yeah.
that bullshit
Yeah.
paper. Anyway, and I don't know enough about that to say more on that. I don't know if you do, but basically now I'm getting re-educated about hormone replacement therapy and how good it can be. And in my case,
Yeah.
tried it, made a big difference, and
Yeah.
it's been a game changer for me being on
That's it.
estrogen. And it's been a full year of that now, which is great. But oh my God, not having a period? It's delicious.
Okay, I have to tell you the story because I think I've only missed like 2 so far, right? Because I was supposed to miss my last one. It was going to be like supposed to come like 2 days after my surgery or whatever. And even my husband took me out for like a last period dinner,
I love them.
so cute. And then I got it like 2 days before my surgery. I couldn't believe it. Like just one last little.
How dare you?
Anyways, so I think I've only had 2 missing, but I went for dinner with my boss the other day and we ran into someone we both knew. And she was like, oh, I hope you don't mind. I like filled her in on your surgery. And I said, oh, no, that's totally fine. She said, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. And she said, yeah, I'm at the age now where I haven't had one in like 2 years. And I said, oh, jealous. Like, I haven't computed yet that I don't get a period anymore.
Oh.
Right away, oh, jelly. And then I was like, wait, I don't get periods anymore. But it's been so much for so long that
Yeah.
2 months is not enough for me to really get it. You
Right.
know, like, yeah,
2 years,
yeah,
baby. You get it. I forget now. I just went for a weekend with two of my best girlfriends, and I don't know. I think one of them was starting her period or something. And I was like, oh, yeah, that thing. You still get
yeah,
that?
that
Oh
happened.
my God,
Totally.
terrible. And like when I go to grab, I don't know, like my white tennis skirt that you told me to get for pickleball, I don't have to
Yeah,
think about it. I don't have to think about my white
yeah,
linen pants. I don't have to think about any of it. And like
yeah,
the lack of bloating, I'm like, my pants just fit all month long. What is that like?
yeah. See, I'm
What?
still not there yet. I'm still pretty
Oh,
swollen.
you'll get
That
there.
will come.
Hmm.
That will come.
Your pants
They
just
said it
fit,
can be
Jess.
swollen up to like a year.
Because I
So
guess your
I'm,
body is now there's this ginormous space. I remember being told like give it some time for your organs to find their groove again, to find their little
yeah.
home again.
And I can feel sometimes little beep. It's not like, see, it's not like a lava lamp. I pictured it being like a lava lamp, you know, like organs are just not like that, but I can definitely feel. And it's weird to think sometimes, you know, when you like try and connect your mind to like a different part of your body, like, okay, I'll be thinking about my elbow because it hurts or whatever. Like, does it feel okay today? I'll think about like that part where my uterus was, and I'm like, but is it just space?
I
It's like
know.
my brain hasn't connected that yet. So there's going to be a lot of like to come,
I want
dot, dot, dot.
like an X-ray. I don't. A universe, do not give me any affliction that causes me to have an X-ray or whatever kind of
Yeah.
like
But just to see,
picturing. But I'm like, what's living there now? What made its home there? Cute.
yes.
Yeah.
Is it a hole
Oh,
still? Is it? Yeah.
I remember at the time that between booking the hysterectomy and I think it was maybe 3 months later, I had my surgery date and I was in therapy. I love my therapist. Shout out to Dr. Soge. She's amazing. Anyway, point is, I was there and I wasn't telling her about the hysterectomy because it was so far down my list of things that was on my mind. And I think maybe I was like, oh, hey, I canceled my next appointment because I'm having surgery. I'll see you and whatever. And she's like, oh, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm having a hysterectomy. And her face, she looked so kind and empathetic and just full of compassion. And she said, is there anything you want to talk about? And I was like, why? She said, oh, this isn't verbatim, but she was like, some women have a grief. There's a real thing to grief there. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh God, no. There's no part of my uterus that makes me
I'm
feel,
fine.
no, there's
Yeah.
no part of my womanness that's attached to this uterus. It just is a body part that's done me
Yeah.
harm and I don't need it anymore. And I feel absolute relief. Never gave it a second thought, actually.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, great. And I tell you that because it made me realize, oh, yeah, some women go through a real grieving process. And I just wonder, was there anything that you went through? Was there any attachment to this body part? Or besides, obviously, the infertility
Yeah.
piece, which I get why you would have that
Yeah.
mourning period of that, but anything attached to this body part?
Well, it's weird. Like, so I watched a lot of TikToks before because there was a lot of great things that I would get from there. Things to buy, unexpected things that are going to come up, whatever. I found it very good. But I also saw a lot of women talking about how they felt like less of a woman
Yeah.
because of
What?
that. And not having had it yet, I was like, that seems crazy. That doesn't, I think, especially in the age of gender is a construct, you can have whatever chromosomes you want and be whoever you want. Those two don't have to align. So the notion that this like thing that's brought me so much pain and awful like is gonna come out and I'm gonna be less of a woman, I got like pissed off. And I was like, the fuck it's gonna make me less of a woman. Like
Yeah.
I feel like this choice is making me more of a woman. I do think a lot of women like grieve too. That is the nail in the coffin kind of the fertility no. And I already had that, but I did have a day. There is a lot of hormonal ups and downs still. And I did have a day only maybe like 2 weeks ago where I was just like uncontrollably sobbing, basically morning to night. And I had this like thought that I was like, Andrew, we didn't do everything we could do.
Oh,
Like, we didn't go to the bowels of Asia to try some experimental ayahuasca like mix of something, or like some robotic surgery that only the Swedes do. And he was like, Jess, yes, we did. We didn't go to those places, but we did everything. And it was weird because it was almost like my hormones were freaking out about that. But in my mind, I'm like, no, I know we did everything we could. So it was a weird moment. And then the next day I was like, no, I feel content. I don't, like you said, I don't regret it all,
No.
nor would I. And grieving, no, like maybe not doing it earlier. And I was terrified of the recovery, and like literally no pain.
Oh, it was glorious.
No pain.
Yeah.
Like if anyone is listening to this, thinking about it, like intentionally not doing it, worried about the recovery, because even my surgeon said so many women are more afraid of the recovery than what they are dealing with. Like I can only speak for myself, but it was nothing. It was nothing.
Same. Like I did have to take the, what is it, 6 weeks of you can't do any movement, no exercise, no. I think I could walk the dog slowly after a while, but, and you have to listen to that because I get that the inside of your body is working really hard to heal itself. But other than being forced to sit still for 6 weeks, no pain. It was glorious.
I did not take any of my narcotics.
I didn't even get any.
Less Advil for my surgery than ever for my period.
I don't even think I had to take an Advil. Not because I was like, I have a high pain tolerance, simply because I didn't have any pain related to it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I really do tell my Ottawa people, like the fact that there is, and I know people get them for a lot of different reasons, but when it comes to endometriosis, adenomyosis, like there's a whole ass specialist at the clinic. Like get your doctor to refer you to Dr. Singh. Duke Bar Singh, unbelievable.
It's at the, what's it called? The Riverside.
It's at the Riverside Hospital. And then on the 7th floor is the women's clinic.
Okay.
And it's the Lori Greenberg Clinic, I think it is. And they have a couple kind of clinics within the clinic, but Dr. Singh, like phenomenal.
Dr. Thorne, I love you forever, but I don't think she's accepting new patients. She's stopped saying my name. But she's amazing.
No, we love you.
Yeah, we love you. Thank you so much, my fellow non-uterus bearer. Is that a thing? I don't know. It's so nice.
Yeah, it's like a kinship.
I know. Oh my God. So nice to talk to you. You're a gem of a human. If you don't know Jess at JetBlack and Ilona, obviously, and all of them because they're amazing. But God, you're a real gem. I love you, Jess.
Oh my gosh. And seriously, if anybody listens to this and they have questions, because there's so many things we could talk about still, like recovery, what the day looks like, blah, blah, blah. Like send me questions.
Yeah. Write them into
Hair Dr. Jess.
At Hair Dr. Jess on Instagram?
At Hair Dr. Jess on Instagram. Like, absolutely as many questions as you want. I even have pictures.
I do too, of my uterus.
You're interested?
I made my uterus my family group chat photo, and my brother was like, absolutely not, but I'm going to pop it in there again.
So cute.
She's so sweet and strong.
I threatened my picture of my kissing ovaries. I thought we could make it to a Christmas card.
Yes.
And my husband said no.
Oh, you know what? We should go to one of those like Hindenburg pottery and do a workshop where we could make a little like hand building uterus. Cute. I'm going to message them.
Oh my God.
That'd be fun. All right. Have a beautiful day. Mwah.
Thanks. Mwah.